Internet, it's Focus Flicks back with another video. And today's video is going to be a little different. I kind of want to just go over some different things because gaming, I do love gaming, but I do love other things, and I do want to make this channel more expressive, I guess, of how I feel about certain games, certain movies. I want to do reviews. I still will do gaming if you guys want me to do gaming, but I thought I might do something different and do a movie review. And the movie that I will be reviewing today is going to be The Joker. And honestly, right off the bat, I'm just gonna say I love the movie. It's honestly a phenomenal movie, and honestly, I don't think it got the best best review. I honestly think some reviews should have been higher because it was such a great movie, and I don't think people fully understand this movie as well as I perceive it. Well, at least that's how I am. But this movie is just amazing, and the fact that it didn't get as much great reviews than I thought, I was kind of astonished, and I was just kind of mind blown that they would give this great of a movie and do it so badly. I don't think anybody really understands the whole movie properly, and I think I might express some ideas that I don't think I even know. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So basically, one thing I really like to think is immediately right in the beginning of the movie, we have this opening scene where we see Joker basically sitting down in front of a mirror, and he's forcing himself to smile while we hear over the radio pollution, and we see a teardrop come down his cheek as he's forcing himself to smile, and then releases his fingers out of his mouth and forcing his cheeks back to where they originally would be. Right off the bat, you could just immediately tell what this movie is going to be about, and you could already feel the vibe of this movie, basically. And honestly, just in an opening scene, which is 30 or 40 seconds long, it managed to tell me what this movie's about, and what it's going to be about, and how I'm going to feel through this movie. And that opening scene, honestly, I think is my second favorite scene. I'll get to my first favorite scene later on in this video, but just continuing, it's just a powerful scene, really, and great job on the directors for this, because it's just such a good scene, and honestly, I don't think it gets as much credit as it does. But yeah, it's such. I just can't It's a really good scene. But yeah. After that, we see Joker, who ends up getting jumped over a sign, that one very popular meme where Joker is holding a sign, and yeah, but yeah, so we see Joker getting beaten up, and I really do feel for him. You after he gets jumped by these kids, not adult, well, teenager kids. He refers to them as kids, so I'm gonna just call them kids, Oh, yeah. So honestly, yeah. But the thing that was most powerful of this scene is like you feel for him. You feel bad for this guy because you know society doesn't give him a chance, and especially with his little disability, I would say, of his laughter and his mental disability, and it really brings light. It really brings to light mental illnesses, and yeah, it just brings to light mental illnesses and how people just treat each other in society. And honestly, it's just such a smart move for the writers because one thing you can notice throughout this whole movie is the same thing. Like every time a joke is made or something happens, it tends to do with making fun of society, sex, and money, which is basically this whole movie, and this is what our society likes: sex, money, and like self what's it called, realization, I guess. Basically realizing and making light of your subjects, I guess. But yeah, it's just so amazing. Like, it's genuinely so good. The fact that they managed to just make this movie, right, and incorporate a lot of things that people do in everyday society, you know, and it's just one. Sorry, it's just wonderful, and we do see one scene which I love really, and it might go over people's heads, but since I've rewatched this movie like multiple times because I genuinely do love this movie. Basically, one of the scenes, we see the Joker, and he is chasing after the guys who stole his sign, right? And we see him, right? And he's running, and the kids run across the street, and like a traffic street, a very packed street, I guess. And then we have the Joker runs across, and you know, he's very cautious at this point. He's extremely cautious. You know, well, not extremely cautious, but he's cautious. He knows he needs to do something about the sign and gets it back. You know, and then all of a sudden, he just sees these cars. He's just taking this time to get around them, and he's very cautious. He almost gets hit by one, but he stops and manages to avoid it, right? Where later on in the movie, where he's escaping the police officers, we in the iconic meme where he gets hit by the taxi, you know, he basically, you see him evolving from a very cautious person to a person with just who's free and doesn't really care too much, you know? And that's really the Joker. That's the actual Joker. Joker doesn't care about, he doesn't even care about himself. He doesn't care. All he cares about, like, even through in the comics, all he cares about is about Batman. And Batman is Joker's real motivation. But in this movie, we do not see Batman. And you know, it's really like an amazing thing. You can make such an amazing movie without, you know, like implanting Batman in there. I mean, we do see Bruce Wayne in there, and we do see Bruce Wayne and Alfred, but we don't really see them doing anything. We see the parents get murdered again, like basically every other Batman. Any movie with Batman in it or has anything to do with Batman, you'll see the death of Batman's parents. But yeah, that's a very interesting scene too, where we see Batman's parents' death. Basically, what happens is the Joker kills Murray Franklin on the show. Alive, and basically riots are now going on in the streets, and people are just going crazy. And one of the scenes is where where we see the Joker. Uh, uh, we have the Joker, right? And basically, he's getting escorted, and he's laughing and he's smiling about what he has accomplished, looking out in the street, thinking, "Wow, nobody saw me before. Nobody even realized I was a thing. I was a person. Nobody knew who I was, but now I'm getting all this reputation. I'm actually making a change without even he realizing that I was making a change, And now he feels popular, he's just going through this whole thing, and it's really awesome just to see him just go to these lengths. And but yeah, so he's in the police car and he's getting an escort basically to the police, I don't know, police jail or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so he's getting escorted because he just killed a man on live TV. I mean, I think a lot of people would what's it called, probably go to jail for that, but yeah, so, but I don't really care about Murray's death right now. I just want to talk about the scene where where he's in the car and then all of a sudden ambulance comes through, and the ambulance basically crashes into the police car, and it basically kills the two police officers as the riot's going on, and we have the Joker. He's just like unconscious in the car, and people pull him out of the vehicle, and it's one of these scenes. It's these types of scenes that actually like make me feel something, and basically what happens is they put him out on top of the on top of the hood of the police car, and he's lying there covered in glass, and be unconscious really, and basically I just find it amazing because as the time Joker is basically, I think when well, personally I feel that when they put Joker on the hood of the car, it reminded me of a baptism. Where where the priest dunks you into the water and he clears you from your sins, I guess is I mean, I've never been baptized. I don't go to church. I'm sorry if I do. If I am wrong about this, please tell me in the comments. But it reminded me of a baptism. And a baptism, I think, cleans your sins away, basically, and just makes you more pure and holy, right? But in this particular case, it was the exact opposite of a baptism, where like instead of water, it's a solid object, and he's laying down in it, and instead of clearing his sins, it clears his innocence away. Not really innocence, I wouldn't say innocence, but his but his old past life, his ignorance, I would say, his ignorance to society would be a better way of putting it. But yeah, it was amazing. Because he's not like his old self. He's not his old self. He is one with the Joker at this point. He is one with the Joker, He is not, no, he's no more this pathetic nobody, right? He's a Joker. He's a new icon. This is a new person, And I really started thinking about a lot of things in this movie, because this movie is just symbolism, and it's wonderful. This is what I like in movies, symbolisms, and this is what made me want to watch the movie over and over and over again, and it's just amazing. Well, like with the stairs, you have the stairs. I personally feel like if you walk up a thing of stairs, right? You would want to walk. Walking upstairs is hard, right? And you would tend to want to walk downstairs instead of going up them. Because going upstairs is harder than going down, right? And basically, if you see, like, I kind of just saw, because throughout the whole movie until the end, we see the Joker going up these stairs on a dark, like, gloomy day or whatever, right? We see him going up these stairs, and it just reminded me of how society is basically like, people have to walk upstairs to be successful. Not even successful, but like able to be successful enough that it can sustain them, But it's never enough, It's never enough. But with, like, when it comes down to people who have money and wealth and fame, it's easier for them to climb these stairs, It's like, for them, it's riding an escalator. The people at the bottom are moving the escalator, The rich, famous person doesn't turn on the escalator, right? It's the people at the bottom that, like, worship this person. Not really worship, adore this person or something, right? They are taking the fast lane, while everybody else is forced to take the staircase. And honestly, I really loved that scene where we see the Joker going down the stairs, and it's all thanks to the gun, really. It's all thanks to the gun, He wouldn't have been famous and popular, because of this. Like, he wouldn't have been, if he never shot those three men, right? Yeah, the men from the Wayne Industries or whatever, he would have never become the Joker, And ever since he killed those people, the gun was what took him to become this figure that people adored, that people worshipped, thought he was a god. He was basically, he wasn't afraid to do what he wanted anymore. This man, he lost everything. He had nothing to lose. So what does he do? He ultimately decides that he will do whatever he wants, because what does he have left to lose? His entire identity is false. His entire identity is false, and we never understand who he really is. He is not Arthur Fleck anymore. He is the Joker, because Arthur Fleck is nobody. He is literally nobody. He does not even know who his own parents are. He is a lost man in a cruel society that doesn't treat him right, with a mental illness that nobody thinks of anything. Nobody thinks a mental illness is horrible. You know, they'll just like, oh, it's just mental. You can always get rid of it. No, it's not like that. Many people, it's sad. It's sad. It's truly sad because not a lot of people can overcome their mental illnesses. Even no matter how much pain medication they take, no matter like. It's truly sad, but you see Arthur Fleck in this movie bash his head repeatedly into walls. We see him do multiple things that is that basically is what's it called? Coping. These are most of his actions in this movie are coping mechanisms. Basically, in the first thing first coping mechanism we see is the jokes. We see jokes as one of his coping mechanisms, and then we see what's it called? His imaginary things. Basically, how he imagines certain not realities, basically certain outcomes. If I wonder if I was with Murray, Murray would want me like this. He would love me, you know. He would be like a father figure to me. Since I have no father figure, I'll imagine him as my father figure, you know. And these are all just coping mechanisms. And I think all of us have done this once or twice. But we also see him dance throughout the movie. That's another one of his coping mechanisms that we see throughout this movie. And we see jokes, we see dance. What else? We see self-harm, where he decides to bash his head into walls or anything. He bashed his head into glass, into walls, into doors, you know. And then the last coping mechanism is also murder. Murder is another coping mechanism, where he goes on a murder spree of just killing people. Not a murder spree, I wouldn't say spree. He kills people who he thinks deserves it. He is basically like what's it called? He basically is like pulling the weeds from, like, basically if Gotham City was a garden, he's pulling the weeds out of it, or killing them one by one, or or just like in a group of one, or just in a group of people, and you know, and it's one of those things where after he kills them, we slowly see him like just accepting, wow, I killed those two people. Look at all this fame I'm getting. Wow, that's amazing. Blah blah blah. You know. And honestly, I think it's really genius, and I kind of want this to be like, if anything, if the Joker. Well, there is really no in the comics, and there is really no canon Joker, basically startup, like his past life. But if anything, if there was ever to be a Joker like backstory, I would 100% want this to be the Joker backstory, because honestly, it explains everything. It explains everything so perfectly, because in the movies we see the Joker have in some movies and some comics and some shows, we see the Joker with so many henchmen, you know. And it makes sense in this one, because all of the Joker's followers basically just wear clown masks. And if anything, it would be so easy, like, oh wow, he got all of these people supporting him, and it makes sense. Because you know, like, I always thought sometimes, well, not always, but most of the times I was like, wow, I wonder how he hired these people. Did they do it on their own will? You know, blah blah blah. Like, why do they respect him so much? Or is he holding their families captive and ready to kill them if they don't side with him, you know? And like, playing some Batman games, you hear like some of the Joker's crew not worshiping, but talking very highly of him and mentioning him and talking about how good of a guy he is. And I'm always just so confused, like, why this, like, why did it come down to that? But in this one, if this was to be it, and we see later on in the movie, him doing these things, it would surely make a lot of sense on how and why he has so many, basically henchmen, and and it makes sense, and it makes sense. But going back to the whole thing of the baptism, we see him basically getting rid of Arthur Fleck and becoming the Joker, because the Joker is his new person. It was a persona at one point, but then it just took over, and the Joker is who he is, because he doesn't even know who he is. So the Joker is who he is, you know. And at the same time as he's waking up from his quote-unquote baptism, I think, we have the killings of the Batman's parents, aka Bruce Wayne's parents, Martha and Thomas Wayne. Which also shows a symbolism. At the same time, Batman was born. Batman was born on the same day as Joker was born. And it's amazing because the relationship between Batman and the Joker, they hate each other, but without even realizing, they are two similar people. Just like one is trying to mess with the other and wants to break the other, but Batman is just he tries not to break himself from killing the Joker, because he's mentioned a lot of times that he wants to kill the Joker, but he knows if he kills the Joker, he's gonna be a different person. Just like how the Joker, when he first killed those Wall Street guys, he changed into a different person, and there's a lot of symbolism between these two, but I think that would be like a whole different video, if you guys want me to do that. But yeah, and honestly, this movie is just packed full of symbolism, and it's just honestly amazing, and I don't think it got the credit it deserved, and there was the scene where he kills his mother, it's amazing to me, honestly, because they don't show the mother dying, all they show is the pillow, and maybe all they show is the pillow move, her mumbling noise, and we see her not mumbling, her panicking voice in the background as she's being suffocated, and all we see is Arthur's face as he's just like, we see his face, and all we hear is the heart rate monitor. I'm not quite sure on what they're called, but those things that go beep, 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 and then tells you what your heart rate is, and when somebody dies it goes beep, and all we hear is like just beeping, and then like we hear like normal beeping to sudden quick shifts of beeping, and it racing, and like it just felt so right, and then all we don't even see like the actual mother dying. All we see is just all we hear is just that, and it's amazing. And one of the another amazing things is what's it called, where he imagines having this girlfriend kind of thing, right? He has his mind, he thinks about that one girl, or whatever, right? He has this one girl, and uh this girl, and he kind of just like, he just has these like unrealistic expectations, sorry, of society, and and he's honestly, I'm not gonna blame him for this, but society still can be better. In this whole movie, we see people making fun of, it, and honestly, and I genuinely think this is an amazing thing, because what we see is people being popular for basically not no reason, but people being popular because of the embarrassment of others. And it's kind of sad to think about it, but it's true. We make fun of other people, we make there's sometimes I can't go through my Instagram unless I see a meme of someone making fun of somebody with a disability. You don't know, there's some like short person there, like like a short person, I would say, and they would be like, I'm a head out, or something with something and music in the background, and it's funny to people, and it's not quite understood. I quite don't understand it too much. I mean, it's comedy, because our comedy really has, well, especially with our generation of people, our comedy kind of it boils down to other people's suffering, and it's not really that good, we see people falling, and we're like, haha, that's funny. They hurt themselves, and it's not very cool, because you don't know what happened. In some cases, we laugh at people's own death. I remember when the rapper X died. There were so many memes, of people's death, you know, and we still have them today. We have things about like, I don't know, Michael Jackson's death, Tupac's death, freaking X's death, Little Peep's death, and like John F. Kennedy sometimes, and just random people who have died. And it's sad to kind of think about, like, oh, what happened to them? Sometimes it's like, oh, these people got into a car accident, oh, the car just exploded. Oh, wow, that's funny, and it's kind of, our comedy nowadays has just become this very, like, sadistic kind of just like weirdness, I would say. It's just gone to like pain and suffering from others, which makes us popular in this world, really. And and a lot of people build up on this, and some great and people that we think are amazing do this a lot. And just like, what's his name? Murray, he builds upon laughter builds upon viewers on the laughter of others. And it's kind of sad, we have like people who have actually been affected by this negatively, and and have people who actually have problems. And it's horrible, because there's people who actually have problems that get bullied about it, and it's not really that fun. Uh, you know, it's just pretty rude, I would say. It's horribly rude to others, and I kind of wish that what's it called? That people would actually kind of change, But that's how you're gonna get up in the ranks of society, by making fun of others. And it's kind of sad to see some, now, some people might remember Vine. It was a great thing at its time, people making 6 second long, funny videos, hilarious videos, and it was fun. They were fun. But now they've become complete sellouts. Basically, they don't care if they're getting made fun of, as long as they're getting popular and popular by the minute, and they're just grabbing onto the hope of being famous again, like they were at one point. And it's kind of sad to see that, because they're desperate, and people like Bart Baker, who just like went to China or whatever and basically sold himself off to this Chinese ad TikTok thing where he just makes music, and it's kind of sad, and it's really bad, But yeah, and then we see Murray becoming like a huge figure of these things. We see Murray as this one guy who's like this just everyday, ordinary tonight talk show guy, and he's always there. He's always doing something, funny, right? And it's kind of annoying. It's not kind of annoying, but it's just sad to think that, like, the only way to get up into society is by making the failures of others, And that's not cool, really. But in this movie, the way the Joker, basically gains ranks through to the top of society, is all because of a gun. And it really reflects on everything, because it reflects in nowadays thing, when like let's just say like a shooting, or like a school shooting or shooter or whatever happens, we have news and media running up and sticking cameras into the victims' faces, and in the what's it called, like the shooter's face or whatever, and they're like, blah blah blah, tell us this, tell us that, wow, why would you do that, that you're insane, you're a monster, and basically giving them popularity, for the wrong thing. They're giving him him or her, whoever, I don't care. They're giving them popularity for no reason, and then just turn it around and doesn't blame the media for, basically creating these monsters in society that do these things, And basically what they do is they just keep on doing it, and all they do is blame video games for it. They blame video games for these acts, and it's not cool, because you know what's going on. We all know it's not video games, it's just because it's like, oh, teenage boys love playing video games. That's a thing, let's make them love video games. And he has what is this? He has a PlayStation. Oh, okay. Make him this guy, and tell him it was all video games. It was always all video games from the beginning. And that's just such a like it's just not good, and it's truly horrible, and it's giving these horrible monsters fame and popularity that they don't really deserve. They don't need it, You're just only making more of what you did. You're only making more monsters in society, But in this case, in the Joker, it's kind of justified, because really what it's not really the Joker's fault, you know? We are just taken to this whole different thing telling us that it's not his fault and it was never his fault. But I mean, sure, he could have gone about it in a different way. But yeah, honestly, if anything, he probably did do the right thing. Yeah, he probably did do the right thing, because he says of himself, he has nothing to lose in life, and it's just for him, it's just tough, especially with the mental illness. And the fact that people are like we see constantly through this movie, people laughing at him laughing at his little condition of laughing and laughter, and don't give him a chance to speak upon it, and just basically not treating him as a human being, really. And it's just kind of sad, really. It's just really sad. But that's just society, That's just how it is. And as much as I don't want it to be like that, it sadly is. But yeah, that's the Joker. But there were some things I did not which I disliked in the movie. One of the things is there's this one score in the movie, which is an amazing score. Don't get me wrong don't get me wrong. It's an amazing score. Honestly, a great job on the people who made that score. But it kind of the score just happens every time. Let's just say every time like something bad happens to the Joker. Well, in this case, Arthur Fleck, he's not the Joker yet, but every time something bad happens to him, some, like the score starts playing, and it's not like an insult or anything, but it just like the movie just basically is like holding your hand. It's like, I kind of want the movie to let me go, not to keep constantly telling me, oh, this is a bad scene, this is where something bad happens, I don't want that, I just don't want that, right? And the fact that it does that, and it's kind of not, I wouldn't say annoying, but aggravating to the fact that it's like these simple things that the director is like, oh, we're gonna hold your hands, but sometimes it's like you don't want to have your hand held through this movie, it's always, leave it up to the actual like viewers, the actual movie like watchers. Leave it up to them to figure out the movie for themselves, because that's the greatest thing. Learning something by yourself, it's really an amazing thing, and I don't think it gets enough credit, because it's just an amazing thing, learning something new. But yeah, and that was just like the one thing that aggravated me to the movie. But honestly, besides that, the movie is just, I would say, perfect. The movie is just phenomenal. I want to go more in depth with this. If you guys want me to go more in depth with this, because there's a lot I've noticed in this movie that I didn't get to explain because in the fear that this video would be super long. But if you guys want me to make a part 2 of this video, I don't mind doing that. And yeah, honestly, I would gladly do another one of these reviews, because that means I get to watch the movie again, which is just awesome. But on that note, thank you guys for watching. If you want, you can just comment down tell me if you want me to like if you guys want me to just stop doing movie reviews and just go straight to just gaming again, or if you want me to broaden my broaden my scope of things that I want to do, reviews, movie reviews, gaming reviews, vlogs. I don't really care. If you guys leave your recommendations at the end of the video, in the comments, I would gladly read them all, and I will take each and every single one if I get any of them into consideration of what I should do next. And this is like my first video in a long time, so thanks guys. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your day. See ya.